So I met Natasha when I was an incoming freshman through a program called UD Scholars. At the time, she was a peer staff, and the program was had a really militant and boot campish feel to it. And so there was a little bit of a tension between the actual participants of the program and the peer staff because they really had to be hard on the students. So if you kind of couple it with the idea that they were only maybe 2 or 3 years older than us and they had so much say in what it is that we could do in the program, it really caused that divide. But when it came to Natasha and myself, I noticed that she was very much so like me, or rather I was like her. We were like one another in that we are both spiritually inclined. And so we connected with that. And when I began to, kind of roll into my actual fall semester as a college student, we connected through Warriors for Christ, which at the time she was on the e-board for, executive board, and she was basically facilitating Bible study meetings. And I noticed that her leadership abilities moved crowds, even when we're looking at the kind of leadership she put on during UD Scholars. And then the second go round, when we worked the summer program together as both professional staff, she was in a position higher than me, so she was essentially my boss, and we connected through that program as well. The summer program was Upward Bound, and although it wasn't incoming freshmen, rather it was high school students, we still kind of carried UD Scholars into it, but we were also adamant about making Upward Bound something of its own. And so we didn't reflect the same values as UD Scholars had directly. We had to kind of make our own concoction of what it meant to be an Upward Bound participant because we were dealing with the younger demographic of students. And so seeing how Natasha was going to kind of infuse these new values was really interesting to see. She has great leadership skills. As I said before, she moves crowds. When we were in UD Scholars, she moves crowds during Warriors for Christ, which is the Bible study organization I was talking about on campus that she does, and with Upward Bound. People gravitate to her because she knows how to communicate well, and she's adamant about cultivating healthy relationships with people that, may not necessarily want the same thing initially. She's very patient with people. And I'm not, so we were definitely different in that regard. But she has influenced me to definitely take my time and work with people a little bit more, And so I feel like she just showed me a new perspective of leadership. And so I really feel like her qualities of leadership, while they are not identical to mine, she definitely has influenced the way that I facilitate, projects, or the way that I take on leadership roles myself, because now I work to make sure that everybody is on the same page as opposed to making sure everybody is listening to me. It's a bit of a difference. And so I definitely owe that to Natasha with the many interactions that we've had, the many long nights we've talked and stayed up about our past and how it's influenced us. And she's essentially become a big sister to me. And so, that is why I think Natasha is a fantastic leader.
Hi, my name is Russell Holland, and Natasha's leadership skills are very strong. She is good at directing and leading small and large groups of people. She is not afraid to speak up. She gets others involved. She takes on a lot of responsibility, and she's herself all at the same time. When working on new projects, she takes the initiative and works to research the new task. She encouraged me to take a leadership position, and she has been a positive example of how to lead.
I met Natasha my junior year. I was president of Warriors for Christ Campus Ministries. She didn't even know who we were. She stepped in. She helped out wherever she could. And to me, that's the true definition of a leader. Just being able to see a need and meet it, being able to serve. 2 years later, she took over that ministry from me. And I had a peace of mind leaving. And that was a big influence on me, leaving and knowing that, hey, I was leaving someone behind that had a heart for people, that had a heart for service, that could be a tremendous leader, a tremendous servant.
Hi, so Regina Snow is one of my really good friends, and back in the summertime, we both worked for Upward Bound Classic program, and Natasha was our coordinator, and she was so invested in the kids, so invested in her staff, which was us. I learned so much about her leadership. She was passionate in everything she did. She gave up more than 100% to the kids, to us, to supporting us, to make sure the kids had all the resources they needed during the program. And so her influence on me was so great. I graduated at that point, and I was a post-grad. And here's this woman who's our coordinator, and she's just now going to be a senior, but her maturity spoke volumes. Like, I never felt at one point that she was being condescending, that she was being immature. Even as a junior, she took lead of our program and really made it the success that it was. And so I think that's all a testament to her leadership and her great work.
So to me, Natasha encompasses what it means to be a truly exemplary leader. Some of her biggest traits that I picked up on and tried to incorporate in my life and leadership roles are her transparency, her ability to be herself, and her passion towards her goals. You know, those are things that I really learned from watching her lead and seeing her act in her leadership roles.
When I think about Natasha and her leadership qualities, I think of 3 words: effective, passionate, and dedicated. Time and time again, Natasha has showed how dedicated she is to the Warriors for Christ ministry and the way in which she goes above and beyond to make the programs happen and to make sure that they're going to reach the community. You know, a key point about being a leader that's important is, you know, making yourself available and really get to know people individually and working collectively with your team to reach the community in which you serve, and Natasha definitely does that well. The last thing, passion. I mean, if you know Natasha, you know she's passionate about the work she does. When I think of great leaders of our time, you know, Natasha definitely comes to mind. So thank you.
There's so many things that I could say about the leadership of Natasha Snow, but I'm going to make this video short and sweet. She is one that I know that if she wants to get something done and she puts her hands to it and her head to it, it's going to get done. She never puts you in a place where you're not supposed to be. And I know because I'm her boyfriend, I know firsthand. So to me, she is one of the best leaders, whether it's directing a choir or even putting together stuff for Warriors for Christ on the campus. So I believe that she is one of the best leaders that I've ever met in my entire life. Thank you for your time.
Take my